Hey, hi there everyone, it's good to see you all again. Right, now on today's video I thought I would do something a little bit different again for you. Before I do, let me just give you a little bit of good news. I've actually stopped biting my nails. Look, I've cut them all. I could do a little bit of a clean mind, but yeah, I've actually stopped biting them, so that's great news. Right, now, to do something a little bit different, I thought you might enjoy this. What I've done, as the title suggests, I'm going to do a bit of a review. It's not an unboxing, because I've already unboxed them anyway. It's a review of these. There's a pair of them. I'll show you the other one later. These are EFE models. Now, if you don't know about them, that means exclusive first editions. I believe that Bachmann have acquired the rights to them now. But anyway, the thing is, EFE model, and here we've got a 2-car set, which is new to the collection. I've only had it a few days. But these are modified by Metromodels, as you can see here. Now, the original EFE stuff, none of it, I believe I'm right in saying that, none of it comes motorised. It's basically static sets. And they do a lot of things, like all the London Underground. They do lots of London transport coaches and wagons and or anything to do with that kind of thing. So it's really good. You can check them out. They're on the internet, of course. But these guys here, Metromodels, what they do, they convert them so that you can use them on your track, on your railway layout. They fit the motors and they make a great job of it. Now, the pair that I've got, that I bought, which I really love, is this is one of them. I'm going to show you this one first. I suppose I can call it the dummy, but the proper term is that it's the D carriage, and it's of course in the Isle of Wight network, southeast livery. 1938 original stock these were, from London, of course, but then they went out to the Isle of Wight. I'm not sure about the dates, but I will check that later on. Anyway, so as I said, it's already been unboxed, so I'm going to open it and show you what I've done to it to improve them. So stay with me. Get rid of that. Carefully take her out, get rid of that, and then unwrap. Have a look. Right. And there it is. Right. Now, I'll let you have a look, nice and close. I'll get a bit more light on the subject. I think that's better. Yeah, that's cool there. Right. Can you see all that? Yep. Now the detail is really quite good, as you can see. You can clearly see it says D on it, just there. Okay. Now, you can see again, the detail is pretty damn good. I'll show you round to the back, like so. Yep. Looks really good. They make a great job of them, and they really do. Now, as you can see here, we've got the bogies. These are fitted by Metromodels. These are fitted in exchange of the original ones that come as a static set. These have been changed to proper pinpoint bearing axles and wheels, like you've seen me do in my video of how to replace the wheels on your existing and old locos and stock, etc. So there basically is it, and it is lovely. And I'm going to take it apart and show you what I've done to improve things. Now, you don't want to sit watching me unscrew things, so I'll just cut it here and I'll be back to you in a second or two. So first of all then, let me show you this. Obviously, as you can see, if I bring it up closer for you, right, I've populated it. It doesn't come like this, obviously. I've done that myself. Nice and simple to do. Yeah, dead easy to do. Now, I will just point out that the seats here in the middle, the floor on them is quite high, if that's the right expression. Yeah, try and have a look. And what I've done, apart from the people standing up, of course, the ones sitting down, you have to chop the legs off them, because otherwise they just stick up too much. But you can't tell, once the top's on, it looks absolutely fine. But the others are all left original in the sitting position or the standing position, and it looks absolutely great when the cover's on. Now you'll see that the mounting holes, we've got one there and we've got two more here. Now let me just show you the cover, the body itself, because you'll see that you've got these two mounting posts here and you've got that one at that end, which is correct, obviously. The problem is that I found with it that when the body shell is on, it doesn't actually sit right down. You can get basically one end to sit down, that single one, but you can't get that end to sit right down. And so I looked into it very, very carefully to try and understand what was happening. And the reason it is because the holes there, as you can see, it's countersunk. So that post has to go in there slightly. Goes down into the recess, but that end it wouldn't happen, so that end was sticking up by about a mil or more, and so basically, as you can see, I've just taken with a 6mm drill, I've just countersunk that a little bit, which allows it to locate it better, is the proper expression. Yes, it just wouldn't locate, but with that little bit cut away there, it locates perfectly into place, and the chassis here sits right down absolutely fine. So that's that bit what I did to change things. The next modification that I want to point out to you is the fact that although I love them, I think they're really, really good, the chassis is plastic, and for me, if it's a static model, fine, doesn't matter, but for me they weren't heavy enough. I think they just felt like they needed a bit of body to them, if you get what I mean by that. So what I've done, again, I'll hold it up and hope that you can see it. Look, I've fitted 2 weights here in between the peoples, and that has made a massive difference. So we've got an extra 20 grams there, and what I'm going to say to you is, it just makes it feel less like a toy. I don't know if that's the right expression, but I think you know where I'm coming from and what I'm trying to say here. But anyway, what I do, I get these and I use them a lot in coaches and things, particularly if you've got any of the Triang Hornby clerestory roof coaches. They are so light and they're ridiculous and they rattle about, so I've actually put 30 grams in those. But let me tell you something, a little bit of a tip about weights for model trains of any description, any type, any size, for any purpose. Go down to your local tyre place, whatever, you know, tyre fitting, tyre exchange, blah blah blah, and get yourself one of these boxes. There, look, adhesive weights, galvanised steel, slimline, and there's 100 in this box, and if you look, you get them like on a strip look, and they're in 5s and 10s. This whole box cost me £12 for 100, which is Asda price. Oh, sorry, over here in the UK, for you that aren't in the UK, Asda price is just a slogan that has to do everything cheap. So anyway, so get yourself a box of them. They're going to last you a lifetime. So get out of the way again. And what you can do with them, you just cut them up into whatever sizes you want, like that. Obviously the sticky back, well, you can imagine they're sticking to an alloy wheel on a car. They're going to stick really well, and they don't come off. And what I do with them, if I want to use them in a situation like this, is I just blacken them, and you can't see it. I've done some where I've fitted them underneath, and you can't see them, because if you blacken them, they don't stand out. Of course, you can spray them or paint them, and what I do, I use a permanent black pen. Okay, you need to do a couple of coats with half an hour in between, but yeah, you just can't see them, and it makes all the difference in the world. Get yourself some tyre weights. Now, what I'm not going to do here is to put driving carriage D back together, and there's a reason for that, because we're going to come back to it later, because I've actually fitted lighting in driving carriage A, this one here. So I'll take it apart and I'll show you how I've done it. The 3 screws are out, but before I separate the body from the chassis section, let me just show you a couple of bits and bobs. First of all, this one is obviously the powered one. Now you can see here that there's a big hole cut out of the plastic chassis section there for the motor assembly to fit into. Now John at Metromodels does this. The motor is do I pronounce this? Is it a Tenshado? I think that's correct, the correct pronunciation. You can see there's a bracket here with the screws to hold it in place. I'm not quite sure if the chassis is I think it's done by a 3D printer, but I'm not quite sure if that hole is cut out afterwards or whether John actually does do them with the hole cut out. But either way, you can see this has got the motor section in it here, and as I say, you can see the mounting screws there. The rest is still the same. Obviously this has been changed for pinpoint bearings with the new axles and wheels, which is absolutely brilliant. Again, looking at the front, you can see this is obviously superb detail, and again it clearly states A just there as driving carriage A, which is generally the front one. So yeah, that's brilliant. So let me just take her apart and show you what improvements I've made to this one as well. Right, carefully does it, John, because I don't want to knock off any of the populated figures. Now you're going to have to bear with me because I've obviously got the wires soldered in place, and so I'm going to have to turn it over that way and try and hold it with two hands and show you everything accordingly. Let me zoom in so I can show you this bit. Right, there we go. That'll do for now. Now, first of all then, obviously I populated these seats with some people standing, as you can see there, look. Same thing with the centre seating. Not quite sure why there's so much glue overspilt there, don't really know why. Not a big deal, I suppose. And again, I've got people standing up, and I've also got people sitting where I've had to cut off the legs because of the high floor on the centrepiece there, which I mentioned to you a little bit earlier. Now, if we move to the back seating, it's not there because the motor is here. This is the screw holding the motor bogie in place, and unfortunately you have to lose this seat here, which, like you saw on the D driving carriage, was also here. Unfortunately, that's just a part of motorising them, which I didn't find that a big deal. But what I did do is, you'll see this big black section here, just there, look, that square there. Well, they are weights, which again Metromodels fit to obviously press down and keep the driving wheels onto the track. So they've already added that weight, those weights there. And what I've done, because I've got people standing up, the way I've got away with this, it's a great little idea, I'm sure you're going to love this, is these are standing up figures, but I've cut them off so that the height of them is roughly, it's not critical because people are all different heights anyway, but they are roughly the same height as the standing up people in the centre aisle there. So when the body cover is on, you cannot tell, it looks absolutely fine. And also this arm here, you can see there with the screwdriver, and I think that lady there, I think I needed to put a spot more glue on her. She's a little bit topsy-turvy. But yeah, look, I've done a couple of figures standing up there on that arm, which again you cannot see when the body cover is on. It actually looks dead right, and it looks like people standing up at this end where we've unfortunately had to lose the seating. So brilliant. Moving on now to the lighting. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I haven't actually added any weight into this one. I might put another 10 in here, although I have track run this and it works perfectly alright, because it's obviously heavier than the D driving coach because it's got the motor in it, which is obviously a 5-pond motor with a magnet, blah blah blah, and of course it will have extra weight, but I might still put something in there yet. Anyway, look, let me just move her across so you can have a look. Now I'll show you how I did the lighting. It worked out perfect. Right, I can't separate these because of these two wires here, as you can see, right, but I can explain to you how I did it. First of all, just tip it up a little bit so you can have a look. Right, let's try and hold it in such a way that I don't get my fingers in the way for what you're going to have a look at. Right, you'll see down there at the bottom down there we've got the rectifier. Now I have done 2 videos on lighting, or converting lighting to LEDs, or adding lighting of LEDs, and I will put the links to those 2 videos in the descriptions box for you. One of them I did the change on a coach which already had a bulb in for lighting, and I changed that to a single LED, and I featured my anti-flicker circuit, which is this here, the rectifier and this capacitor here, and I did the same on a Triang R155 switcher locomotive with twin LEDs front and back. As I say, I'll give you a link to those so you can check back on them. But let me explain to you. Simply, the rectifier is here. What I did, I glued the capacitor onto the rectifier first, then soldered the 2 output leads here. I've got to get it the right way around because it's marked negative and positive, but that's simple. I put a pair of very, very flexible wires on the AC input to the rectifier here, and as you can see, these are really pliable. They need to be very soft and very pliable because they are soldered onto here which is the actual input to the motor. The motor picks up from pickups down on the wheels down there, but this pair here are actually connected to those same pickups because they're, generally speaking, are there to add wires on from pickups from the other end, although Metromodels don't do that. It's okay, sometimes you can get a small jitter on points with them because of the closeness of the two wheels. If the front were picking up as well with wires soldered onto here, you wouldn't get that problem, but to be honest, it's not that bad. As long as you keep your track clean and keep these wheels clean, it generally is okay to do. So then, once I'd soldered these wires on and glued it onto the rectifier, I then and put these two wires on ready to use first, I then literally glued it to here, straight onto the plastic chassis, which has loads of room. You've got loads of room there. Without it, as long as you don't go past the piece down here where the body shell fits onto it, it's not a problem. And that went into place. Then I cut these two wires here unnecessarily long, but I say unnecessarily, I mean long enough that they're not taut, because they have to, try and do this right, get my hand in the way, they have to, move while the motor bogie moves like that. Then what I did was get the lighting strip, which you can clearly see there. Move that a bit more for you, look. You can clearly see it perfectly from there all the way along to that end, and it's a perfect snug fit with 12 LEDs. I'd already soldered the red and black wires on, obviously, which you can see there, and then stuck the strip in place and then cut the wires to length. You don't want them too long, otherwise it's all going to fall into this area, or fall into this area here. So they're just long enough that you can lift the body over and put it into place with a nice little kink in the two wires there, look, and away you go, the lights are up and running. Now I'm going to show you what I've done to do this, and I'll be back with you shortly. Oh yes, and before I forget, I forgot to tell you that I also countersunk the holes for the three posts to sit in the chassis on the A driving coach too, because what that does, it allows the bodywork here to sit nice and tight flush on the chassis, rather than sitting 1 or 2 mil proud because of the locating lugs not dropping into place correctly. So thought I'd better run that one by you as well. Now guys, when it comes to adding lighting into coaches or locomotives that already have it, converting them to LEDs is really simple. And like I said, I will put the link in the descriptions box to 2 videos that I've already done on that particular issue. If you have an item you want to put lighting in which isn't already illuminated, then of course you have to add the added thing of putting pickups on the wheels to do the job. Obviously there are companies out there that do lighting strips which are self-contained. In other words, they're powered by a battery, which probably lasts a fair time, and yeah, this is not a bad idea because you can just stick it in with blue tack or black tack into the roof and away you go, and you've got lights in your carriage. But the thing is, they are roughly 20 quid a throw. I think, if I remember rightly, I think Will of Intercity 82 did a review on one of these a long time ago, so you perhaps need to check that out. But the point I'm making is, if you've got 100 or more coaches like I have and you want to illuminate them, then 20 quid a throw is a lot of money, but there's a much cheaper way of doing it. Let me show you. This then is so easy and cheap to do. Right, what you need is the rectifiers like that, which you can buy in a job lot. I think they're about 20 pence each or something like that. Just comes on a roll. You need one of those each time for the coach or the locomotive that you're going to do, and then you need some capacitors, which are like those, which are basically there to stop the flickering. We call it the anti-flickering circuit. Again, these are a few pence each, and you also need some LEDs, which you can buy off the internet on a strip like this, on a roll, look, like that. 300 of them for like somewhere between 3 and 7 quid. I use warm white because I think it's a nice looking colour, and with these LEDs you can literally cut them off at 3 at a time. So we've got 1, 2, 3, there's your scissor cut. Have I got that right? Yes, it's just there. So It's so cheap to do this, and basically this is exactly what I've just done in that carriage, driver carriage A. As it happened, the length of it allowed me to put 12 in, so that's 4 lots of 3 before I cut it here. So I've got 12 LEDs in it, along with the cap to stop the anti-flicker, and along with the rectifier, which means it will come on in both directions regardless of the polarity of the input source. So it's so easy to do. Obviously, if you're going to do it on a coach that hasn't already got pickups, then of course it does get a little more difficult, because like I said, I've already done the A driving coach because obviously the power's there picked up from the wheels. The D driving coach has no pickups, so I do have yet to fit some pickups to it, and I will show you how to do that in a later video. But again, the whole thing to do is so simple and so cheap. You don't have to spend 20 quid on every coach to get them to light up. Simple as that. And so then, to round the video off, I know there's going to be at least 2 things that you're going to want to see. The first one is you want to see it lit up, obviously. So if I just grab these wires, because I'm going to have to put them on the wheels, obviously. And here, there she is, lit up, running and lit up. You can see all the figures inside, perfectly alright. So that's brilliant. Brilliant result. Absolutely outstanding result. There you go. And the second thing you're going to want to see is it running. Well, let me tell you now, the next video is already more than 50% finished, and it is going to feature this set. Whether or not I managed to get the time to fit the lighting in the D driving coach, I don't know. We'll see how things go. But at the end of the day, you're going to see this and lots more goodies in the next video. So till then, see you everybody. Bye-byes. Hope you enjoyed the show. Bye.